Did you ever think that your morning croissant could come with a side of military readiness? Well, buckle up because France is showing all the signs of preparing for war. Picture this. The French President Macron is advocating for a war economy mode. That's right, he's not just talking about making baguettes and brie, he's emphasizing the need for an independent European defense mechanism. Now, what does this mean? Well, it's all about being ready to stand up and protect what's theirs. And they're not just talking the talk. The country's defense sector has been seeing an influx of funding and orders. They're ramping up, prioritizing defense production like they're preparing for a big show. But what's the main event? Well, the situation in Ukraine is looking dicey, with failed negotiations and ongoing conflict stirring the pot. And France? They're not just sitting back and watching, they're declaring readiness for any eventualities, indicating a shift towards a more proactive stance. So next time you're enjoying a French baguette, remember, they're not just baking bread over there. And while you're at it, don't forget to hit that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe. Do it for the croissants, folks. You thought the French were all about wine and fashion? Think again. Their armed forces are declaring readiness for any eventuality. At the heart of this preparation is the Centac training camp, where French troops experience conditions that mimic actual combat. From artillery fire and fake mines to disrupted communications, the training is designed to be as realistic as possible. Troops are also trained to navigate and fight in downgraded mode, relying on maps instead of electronic devices to prepare for scenarios where networks might be jammed by adversaries. Now, this may seem like a stark departure from the stereotypical view of France. You know the one I'm talking about. But let's not forget, France has a long history of military prowess. Remember Napoleon Bonaparte? Yeah, he wasn't playing around. And it seems that the current French administration isn't either. There's been a significant shift towards a more proactive stance. No longer content to sit on the sidelines, France is preparing for potential conflict. They're advocating for a war economy mode and emphasizing the need for an independent European defense mechanism. The country's defense sector has seen increased funding and orders with a focus on prioritizing defense production. So next time you see a beret, don't just think fashion. Think strategic military readiness. But why all this fuss, you ask? Well, the answer, my friend, is blowing in the Ukrainian winds. Now let's take a moment to shift our gaze eastward, where the situation in Ukraine is as frosty as a winter in Siberia. The negotiations, much like a souffle that refuses to rise, have unfortunately failed. The conflict, much like a bad opera, is ongoing, and it seems the fat lady isn't singing anytime soon. The ongoing conflict in Ukraine has reinforced the need for this approach. Both sides in Ukraine have struggled due to the lack of coordinated operations, highlighting the critical nature of combined arms combat. General Pierre Schill, the army chief, emphasizes the importance of credibility in collective defense, particularly within NATO. The goal is to be able to deploy a division of 25,000 soldiers within 30 days by 2027, focusing on combined arms warfare which integrates infantry, armor, artillery, and engineers. But why Ukraine, you ask? Picture this. Ukraine is like that last piece of baguette at a French dinner party. Everyone wants it, but no one wants to be the one to take it. Its strategic location makes it a hotspot in the geopolitical landscape, and the ongoing conflict has made it a focal point of international concern. And it's not just about military might, it's also about economic stability, diplomatic ties, and maintaining the delicate balance of power. France understands that in this unpredictable world, it's better to be a step ahead than a step behind. So as we sit here sipping our café au lait and munching on croissants, let's spare a thought for the folks in Ukraine. Their current predicament is shaping the strategies of nations far and wide, including France. So, while we're all trying to figure out how to pronounce Kiev, France is gearing up and taking notes. Of course, not everyone is thrilled about France's new battle mode, but when has that ever stopped the French, right? Now let's talk about the critics. You know, those folks who've got their berets in a twist over this whole war economy business. They're saying France is overreacting, escalating tensions unnecessarily. Some even argue that the French are flexing their military muscles a bit too much, making folks uncomfortable. But hey, this is France we're talking about, the land of wine, romance, and revolution. They're not ones to shy away from a fight. metaphorical or otherwise. In fact, their history is pretty much a testament to their resilience. Napoleon, anyone? Then there's the financial side of things. Critics argue that this increased focus on defense production is draining the French economy, redirecting funds that could be used elsewhere. After all, more tanks mean fewer croissants, right? Well, not exactly. The French government is convinced that this war economy could actually boost their economy. More defense orders mean more jobs, more production, and potentially a stronger economy. It's a gamble, sure, but it's one they're willing to take. And let's not forget the geopolitical landscape. It's as complex as a French pastry, with alliances shifting and conflicts brewing at every corner. In this uncertain world, France is choosing to be proactive rather than reactive. And can we really fault them for that? So, whether you agree with their approach or not, one thing's for sure. The French are not just surrendering to their critics. They're standing their ground. After all, they've got a reputation to uphold. And if history is any indication, they're not ones to back down from a challenge. In the end, it's all about trust. Trust in your alliances, trust in your defenses, and most importantly, trust in your baguettes. As we delve deeper into this baguette-filled saga, it's essential to understand that the world stage is a complex one, painted with the hues of uncertainty and alliances that could make or break nations. As France adapts to a world of heightened geopolitical tensions, it is clear that the nation is taking significant steps to prepare its military for the challenges ahead. The motto, "Hard training, easy war," underscores their commitment to readiness and resilience. France, like any good chess player, is adapting to these uncertainties, preparing its defenses, and strategizing its moves. The increased focus on defense production, the readiness of the armed forces are all part of this grand game of chess. President Macron's advocacy for a war economy mode and an independent European defense mechanism is a clear indication of France's intent to hold its own in this high-stakes game. However, trust, my friends, is a two-way street. As France prepares for potential conflict, it's also placing a great deal of trust in its alliances. The European Union, NATO, and other international bodies are not just bystanders but crucial players in this game. Their support or lack thereof could drastically change the course of events. Yet amidst all this, there's one thing that remains constant: the humble French baguette, a symbol of normalcy, of home, of France. As the nation braces itself for potential conflict, the baguette stands tall, a testament to the French spirit. So while we ponder the fate of geopolitics and the perfect croissant, remember, in war and baguettes we trust.